welcome. I'm Vanelli. So this is another one of our Luminar Coffee Breaks, and I'm glad you could join us. Now, our topic today is embracing lens distortion when it comes to portraits. So lens distortion, obviously, if you use a 16 millimeter lens or lower, you're going to get that fisheye effect depending on which camera you're using. In fact, the camera that Fuji loaned me was the X-T3, and several of the lenses they gave me, one of them is a 16 to 55. Because this is mirrorless and it's micro four thirds, it's equivalent to a 24 to 70. All right, and I had it for the shot I'm going to show you all the way to 16 millimeter, but it still wasn't enough. So let me show you the shot real quick. Here he is, and the official name of the kitten is Olive. So they officially named the kitten Olive, and he's been my test subject, and we found out it's a he. He's been my test subject for the last few days working with the Fuji gear. So with this type of a shot, I got the distortion that I wanted, but not enough. So I'm going to use Luminar to accentuate and make that distortion appear even greater. So typically, portrait lenses are a wide-angle lens typically not used for a portrait. However, if you want to add a creativity or something extra special to the actual portrait, try a wide angle. All right. So let me show you what I'm looking at here. All right. Hello, everyone. Now, by the way, we're trying to keep these coffee breaks to around 15 to 20 minutes long. So I'll still answer all your questions. And our idea is to have a Zoom meeting after this. If people are interested, please give us a thumbs up on this video. Also, leave a comment below saying, yes, I'd be interested. The Zoom meetings will be an interactive one-on-one, not one-on-one, but interactive, real-time answering back and forth. If you're interested in that, jot a little comment down below that you're interested, and we'll see if we can add those. All right, I'm sorry, let's get right back to this now. All right, guys, so here we are. Now, I'm going to show you a couple things I did. I'll click on the edit button, and here's my edit panel. Now, the first thing I did right away was I started to experiment and create some killer effects to it, and here's one. I'll go through all of this in a moment. Here's the one effect, and I really liked it a lot, all right? But the first thing I did, let me go back to it. The first thing I did was I experimented with the lens geometry. Let me put a little, there we go. All right, so for the lens geometry, that's right underneath on the canvas tools. The first thing I did was I took lens distortion and cranked it all the way over. Now look, it's giving me that barrel shape effect that I'm looking for. The only problem is it's not filling the actual frame. So I scaled it. And I got it to where I liked it, right about here. And then use the Y offset to scale it down into place. All right. So that was the very first thing I did, and that's what made me realize, oh, I really love this lens distortion, and it made it accentuate it. Now let me start to add one of the looks. So I added a look, excuse me, and look what happened. All of this went back to default. So I realized when we talked about orders of operation, if you're going to do any of the lens distortion or fixes, do that either, well, let me show you this, I'm sorry. I did that first and thought, okay, I understand, maybe I need to create a new adjustment layer, right? Because it's on a new adjustment layer, it's not going to erase that lens effect that we just did. But look what happened when I did it. When I did it, boom, the distortion, let's see, let me pull it back up. Oh, down back here at the beginning. So here at the beginning, and Let's get to it for a moment. As soon as it pulls up. The distortion, actually, let's see if it stayed. Come on. So I'm here. Oh, okay, I wasn't patient enough. Here we are. The distortion is here. All right, guys, guess what? This is interesting. The distortion stayed. For those of you that were with me this morning, the distortion didn't stay. So let me try something while I got you guys here. Let's delete this layer, because what I was going to tell you is if that distortion didn't stay, just create a new adjustment layer, create all your special effects on that layer, and now you have the look that you're going for. So let's try something. I'm going to come over here and keep this right where it's at. And then I create, like I said, add new adjustment layer. And I put the Oliver. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Let me do this. Kitten Outdoor. It did it. It stayed. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. All right. So I was right the first time. Notice how the distortion for the lens disappeared. So what I realized is that what I need to do is apply my look first, which I did right here, Oliver, and I'll go over how I did it. Once I apply that look, now go in and apply the lens distortion. So under canvas, here we are. And now I distorted the lens. So the reason, by the way, and I apologize for this, is I added lens distortion to that actual look. That's why it's here. So when you do a distortion, in fact, let me go back to family. Good. So here I am with family. You apply your look first, then come back in and apply your lens distortion. All right. So the lens distortion will get overwritten if you apply the look after the lens distortion. That we already knew. But even if you create an adjustment layer, that lens distortion has to be on the bottom layer. It's still going to get overwritten. So a good rule of thumb is start with your look. Create the look that you want, then apply the lens distortion. Good. I'm so sorry I got that out of the way with you. All right, so here we are. I love when we do the look. There's my lens distortion. However, I need to fill the frame. So that's where scale comes in. Good. Once I get it where I want it, the Y offset moves it up and down. All right. So I have enough room to bring it down just a little. I don't mind his ear getting cut off. In fact, I actually like it because it looks like he's coming off the screen. There we go. And bring it down just a little. Right there. Awesome. All right. So that's how we made the barrel effect. So before and after. Now, had I have had a small, let's say a 10 millimeter lens on this, it would have done that in camera for me. But since I had the 16, again, the equivalent of a 24, I had to use Luminar to add that extra look for me. All right. So let's come over here and make a few adjustments. Structure. Now, let's see what we shot this at. I'm pretty sure, yep, I shot this at 5.6 and with 1/125th of a second. I used a flash. So the flash froze the kitten, who's moving pretty quick, froze him in this place. That's why I was able to use a slower shutter speed. And of course, you see, we have our 16 millimeter lens. Now, what was cool about this camera that I'm not used to with my Nikon is the screen itself came out. So I was able to put this right down on the ground itself, and without breaking my neck, I was able to look deep into the screen and capture the image. The other feature this camera had that I really liked is face detection. So it was able to detect Oliver. Try it again, Ollie. She was able to detect the face, and if I put eye detection on, it would actually know left eye or right eye. So I didn't have to sit there and take time to focus, recompose, take the shot. I just put the camera on the ground, and I had a good friend of mine dance with a kitten, did all these cool things. The cat went flying after a rock. That's how we got the shot. So to make it look even better, that's where that lens distortion comes in. Now, this right here was 5.6. If I shot it at 2.8, I wouldn't be able to use the flash because the shutter speed would have been over 250th of a second. So that's why I opted for 5.6, knowing if I wanted to, I can always, which I didn't hear, but I could always go in and blur it inside Luminar. I like it right about here, the structure. I will add accent AI just a little bit. Look at that. While I'm here, I'll use the light tool, and I want to enrich the blacks just a touch. There we go. All right. So those are the essential tools. And then for the creative tools, you know, I always use dramatic. I just absolutely love it. Watch the effect it's going to make. Ready? On or off? On. Look at that. So with that being said, I want to dial it back just a little bit more because I don't want it to be too much. There we go, just enough. I love what it's doing to the kitten. And I like these settings here. Mystical. So here's the mystical tool. I'm going to toggle it on and off. Ooh, look what it's doing to the background. The only problem is, look what it's doing also to the white fur. So we'll fix that down here in the Pro Tools. Now, as for the AI skin enhancer, guess what? I don't have to worry about that because the portrait tool is not detecting the subject. So if it's not detecting the subject, well, then the skin and the AI enhancer tool knows that this isn't a human. It's human aware. It sees eyes, sees a nose, but it knows it's not a human, so it doesn't have those tools available to us. So I don't need that. And I'll come down to the Pro Tools. I am falling in love with advanced contrast. Check out the white. We'll zoom in just a little bit. Right here. Here's highlights. I just want to focus just on the highlights. Look at that. I could blow them out, or I could dial it back in. Look at that. Before and after. Look how I was able to, it does so much more than the highlight tool or the highlight slider in the light tool. Here's highlights. This is global. It's going to make everything in the image. It's going to enlighten, it's going to bring the highlights down, which I like it here, but it's going to bring the highlights down in every part of the image. Whereas under the Pro Tools, the Advanced Contrast tool, that's going to make sure I pinpoint just the areas I want. All right? So far, I really love how this looks. One thing I do want is I want to draw more attention to the beautiful kitten's face. So let's start painting. And I want to lighten. Let's start out low. From here, let's see, lighten. And the opacity strength is 20. I just want to come in 1, 2, 3. Good. Cross the eyes. Let's see how it's looking. Ooh, look at that. It didn't look like we were doing much, but I like what it's doing. However, I want just the eyes now to be a little bit brighter. Good. Before after, all right. This area right here is a little too much, so let's erase it. And all I'm doing is a slight sweep. So, brush, there we go, nice and easy. Good, and actually, I'll come back again. There, just once. There we have it. All right, before, after. Look at that. So isn't it cool how we were able to bring attention right back to the kitten's face? All right, looking through it all, we could come up and maybe drop a little vignette, but nothing too crazy. Choose the subject, obviously the kitten's face, but let's put it right about here. Right, like that. And if I click on the advanced settings, inner light, bring it right about here. There we go. All right, so let's check to see if it makes a difference. Oh, it definitely does, so I'm going to leave it. Done. All right, let's check this out. Before, after. One more time. Before, after. There we go. All right, and notice everything is on one layer. I didn't have to make, who asked that? Did I make an adjustment layer? Okay, Julie, yes. So Julie, no, I didn't have to make an adjustment layer. And the reason I didn't have to make an adjustment layer is because I went in the proper order. So I went in, laid out my looks, got it to where the way I want it, and then I went back in, and then I applied the perspective. So that I applied the perspective, and that's what gave me the look that I was going for. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Good. Russell, how you doing, bud? Great. All right, guys. So let's see. There you have it. All right. So one more time, let me show you it. I give you the full screen. There we are. Oh, look at that. I absolutely love that photo. And I know the kitten's parents are going to love it too. All right. Now, if you like this episode, again, please give it a thumbs up. That's just a little benchmark for us to make sure that we're bringing the content that you want. Second, if you have a question, please drop it into the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them, even if you're watching the recording of this. Last is the Skylum Academy. Let me bring it over here. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you go to skylum.com//academy. And you'll see here some of the upcoming events. We do have Nicole Young coming in with capturing the beauty of nature. And then Up and Running with Luminar 4, which I'll be teaching, coming up on June 15th. And then Rich Harrington already did a class on Up and Running with Luminar 4. You can check that out. That's already here. There's tutorials, podcast. This is where you can find a lot of the coffee breaks. And, of course, the user guide. And in the user guide, like we said, you just type in a question, let's say boost, and it's going to give you every tool or every instance where boost is mentioned. You click on it, and you can learn more about what boost does. And most of the time, you'll even have videos, excuse me, that you could watch to learn more about those. So, Skylum is filled with education, and that's just another example of where you can find it. I want to give a shout out to Fuji. Once again, thank you for sending the loaner gear, which I'll be returning soon. I want to do some more shoots with this. Still life will probably be a good shoot, and I want to do some more portraits with people and really test out that face recognizing feature to make my life easier while I'm photographing. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. And again, if you want to try, or if you want us to try that Zoom meeting after these sessions, so you figure these last for about 10 to 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes. If afterwards you want to get together to where we just sit around and just answer questions in real time, let us know if you think it's a good idea, and we'll add that to our list. All right? Well, hey, I'm Vanelli. Thank you so much for joining us for this coffee break, and I'll see you tomorrow.